Hi you guys, my name is Victoria. Many of you don't know, but I'm a spouse of Livid, the Siberian tiger. He runs the YouTube channel. So this morning, we were in 9 a.m. court for a traffic citation. I took him there. We went out together because we had a gut feeling there was something brewing. Anyway, while we were in court, the bottom line is my husband got arrested in a contempt of court for 48 hours. And I am livid because usually I do not. My ethics, my morals are usually super high. It requires by my profession. And I am really usually committed, to listen to the person, to see the point of view, to basically being open-minded as possible I can. I always been that way. I'm the grounded person for our marriage and for our family. I usually, the one that's keeps the things, grounded in our family, run the background, and I usually, I've been married to my husband for a while, so I know he can be hard-tempered, but I also like his honesty. He's blunt, and I think I'm more blunt and more honest than he is, and I think that's what makes us a great team, for us. But anyway, so today at 9 a.m. we were in court for traffic citation. Long story short, I should say it. The traffic citation, the whole process in the court, the judge, I believe the judge's name is, I know Larry Jr. last name, but I don't know. It's in Clackamas Court, Municipal Court. He's the only judge there. And he's got a lawsuit open against this judge in the court. So for a different matter, and before we walked in with the traffic citation, my husband said, hey, Judge, just FYI, we have a conflict of interest. Is there a way you want to recuse yourself so we can move on? The judge said, nope, I don't care. Let's move on. Okay. The whole process, anytime. So on the stand was the deputy that he was, that pulled him over, and his pullover, I think there is a video, in his, channel where basically he was hunted for. Deputy, pulled him over and hunt him for because he knows he just left the courtroom for the video they posted. I know it's there. And he hunted him and pulled him away. And my husband was just trying to say, hold on a second. What was the reason for pullover? You just know who I am. You're going after me. Anyway, so that was the traffic citation for. In the whole process, well, my husband was trying to ask the deputy questions. The judge constantly protected the deputy. He constantly clarified anything that deputy said. Anytime my husband said, hold on a second, I'm asking the person, the deputy, just says, no, that's not how it works. I don't care. Move on. He's like, another question. 5 minutes before I even go in, 5 minutes into the court, the judge said, hey, just FYI, if anything happens, or I know you're from previous interactions, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court. They were all deputies that he's suing in the previous, all were present. So this was so staged and so set up that you cannot deny it. I think judge just digged a bigger hole for himself because he should have recused and should have moved on. But the fact that the judge constantly, throw that he's going to hold a contempt of court because my husband called him out and he said, hey, judge, at this point, it looks like you're being a lawyer for the county instead of being a judge. Would you mind let us, ask the question, I ask the question, do my due process, what is legally my right? Ask the question and do things like that. And then you can decide what's the outcome. He wasn't having it. He was like, if you're going to continue, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court. If you're going to continue, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court. My husband couldn't ask basically any question. He finally said, okay, he started to raise his hand. Oh, before anything, the beginning, my husband requested for a video to be recorded at the courthouse. because they don't have recordings. Only, I think, body cameras they have. But they, for some reason, they don't do court recordings, which is, they do have cameras, but they don't record. And I think I know why, because they don't want to show what's going on in their courtroom. He asked for the permission to grant the permission to record. The judge said no video, but you can do an audio. So my husband couldn't figure it out because judge was like, you know, you don't have time for this. We need to move on. Like, do it. My husband's like, okay, fine. You know, just, he was doing things. So in the process, there was evidence, and he was asking the deputy, hey, you know, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And deputy said, I'm not answering that question. I'm not answering that question. And my husband said, well, hold on, judge, can he answer that question? No, he doesn't have to. Like, he doesn't have to. Like, as I said, I'm usually a ground person, but law is a law. It's written from both sides. So how are we supposed to have any, you know, protection from laws if the judge is absolutely not obeying the law? Like, you know, we're supposed to look up to judges and say, hey, you know, we got the fair trial, both on the stand. This is what, you know, the process is. We go through the process and the judge make a decision on the evidence. But when the judge already made his decision before we even walked in the courtroom was set up. As I said, all the deputies that he's suing was over there. He had other extra 2 people witnesses just to see what's happening. They had the court staff there while all observing. Like, at first, they were iffy for me to get in, which is this open courtroom house. I can be there. Like, it was so staged that even I didn't feel like I knew the law that well. Clearly can see that they were just there to go after him. So I did call all lawyers. I did, you know, do everything. I don't know exactly a lot about the legal process. My husband does all of our legal stuff, but I am livid. And as I said, I'm usually the one that's grounded. I'm usually the one that I gave reasonable, you know, reasons to say, hey, maybe they had no choice. Maybe this is his job. Maybe that's what he has to do. But the more, there are some courts where that's fine. You know, we've been through quite a few, and some judges are, you know, honest, and then they follow the law and says, yes, I get it. And, you know, the both sides, sometimes my husband, sometimes the other side gets slapped on the wrist, and we get it. That's the law. But when you're so biased and you know it and you're not afraid, that's what's scary. That is super scary. You know, how can you, a presenting judge, be sitting on the bench? And I understand you have to work with police officer and protect him, but he has to answer the questions if somebody's asking him. You know, you make a decision when you look at both evidence, but you don't make a decision before any evidence got played out. Like, what, you know? And I understand that they did on purpose. They put the deputy first so they can, you know, route my husband. And of course, he lost his cool and everything, but he tried. He tried so hard. And he said, Judge, what are the rules? What do you want me to do? You know, how do you want me? Do you want me to raise my hand when you're ready? Like, so I don't feel like, you don't feel like I interrupt you. Do you want me to do this? And the judge was like, yeah, that's what you want to do. Okay. So he did it and he still didn't like it. So as I said, it was so set up. It was so done. And I am livid. So anyway, we're going to wait it out 48 hours. I guess that's the process. And, you know, my husband will record his opinion of what it is, but I am beyond of the corruption on a higher level that these courts have. It's just, I knew, but like how you're not afraid that you have to answer for the things that you do. Like, how do people sleep at night? Like, how's your conscience work? Like, don't you, like, I understand they have a tough job and I get it. And, you know, but moral ethics, where are those? You're serving the public. You know, they entrusted you with, like, you know, pretty much being there and be for them and for all the people, but you just decided to make a choice of, you know, picking the the corrupt side, I guess he can sleep at night. I don't know. I'm flabbergasted. I'll be honest. I'm flabbergasted. Anyway, I'm probably ramping. As I said, I don't go on this channel. I usually let my husband run the whole thing. But I am beyond fuming at this point. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm fuming, of at this point, rage that how can a presiding judge be so corrupt? I get the cops, I get the police, I get, people there are, but when you put on that kind of role, I think, you have to have a sensibility where, so anyway, this is it. I'm hoping you guys have a good day. I'll keep you, we'll keep you posted in a few days, see what's happening. As I said, I'll call our lawyers. It's everything been put in place. So, we'll go from there and see where it takes us. But hopefully, and hopefully I don't have to come out here that often, but it piled. It's something piled. And I had to speak the truth because I'm trying to be as honest as I can. And this was just not something, not something I expected. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day.